Unconquered, a symbol representing the resilient Seminole people and their timeless legacy that continues to burn bright into the future. This spirit lives on with the people of the Seminole tribe of Florida and among the Florida State University through the significant tradition of Osceola and Renegade.
The whole ceremony makes you almost like tremble.
It doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get cooler than that.
Once you see it, you want to see it often.
The Seminole tribe of Florida's history began when a group of Creek Indians migrated to Florida in the 1700s. The Seminoles accepted various indigenous people into their tribe, attempting to escape white colonialism. Among them were runaway slaves seeking refuge. White settlers wanted the Indian land and their former slaves back, so in 1830, now President Andrew Jackson passed the Indian Removal Act, attempting to force migration of the Seminoles to Oklahoma with the Trail of Tears. After decades of surviving in these conditions, tribal members voted in favor of a Seminole Constitution, which established the federally recognized Seminole Tribe of Florida on July 21, 1957. But in 1962, Bill Durham proposed the idea of a student dressed as a Seminole Indian who would ride a horse and perform during football games. Eventually, head coach Bobby Bowden would help form the current tradition of Osceola and Renegade. Contrary to popular belief, Osceola was not a chief. He was a warrior who was the mastermind behind several successful battles against the U.S. and strived to represent the Seminoles' reputation as non-surrenderers.
My history with it actually even took us to the Seminole Indian Reservation in South Florida because I was so interested in the idea of Florida State Seminoles, why we chose that, and what was the historical connection. So even as a little kid, the family, we went down there to learn about it, learn the history, and learn why Florida State had chosen that.
You know, it's not a deal, it's not a toy that's used to advertise. It's strictly for game, part of the ceremony of the structure of the game itself.
If you go to a game and you get into watching football and you want to be supportive of your team, you get excited. You feel like you just want to be a part of the action. And to say that I was actually a part of it, that was a lot of fun.
To plant the famous spear at FSU is a great honor and tradition, and is held with great prudence.
While I was in school, I saw an article in the Flambeau. It was talking about the need for a backup rider. I thought, you know what? Maybe I can do that. So I applied, interviewed, went out and rode for them, and they picked me. And I was told I beat out 47 other people to do that. I felt like it was an honor to do it because I knew that I was part of a program that didn't, we had a lot of respect for what the Seminole tribe had done.
The Seminole tribe of Florida and the university have positive relations. Everything from the tradition of Osceola and Renegade to the usage of the Seminole name as the university's symbol has been consulted and approved by the Seminole tribe.
I think everybody in the tribe is supportive of the Florida State and are very proud to be associated with the university and appreciate, that they showcase our name and that they do try to learn about our culture.
When the National Collegiate Athletic Association was coming down on the use of mascots, the Seminole Tribal Council took the step of supporting Florida State University to use the mascot Seminoles. And I think we want to create more to that relationship.
We both share the same name, Seminole, and then, at the same time, it's about, when they're on a football field, it's having that unconquered spirit, and the Seminole tribe, we still have that unconquered spirit.
However, not all feel this way.
By the way, Osceola was not a warrior by choice. He was a warrior because of the persistent genocidal military aggression towards his people. And historically, he was a ceremonial person who was forced to be a warrior to defend and protect his people from direct attempted murder. So to have a native mascot in a country that has perpetuated genocide against the native people is on its face an abomination. I've never heard anyone who could give me a reasonable explanation of why there would be a difference between one racial group and another being an acceptable mascot.
Yeah, there would be two things where we do not honor the Seminole Tribe of Florida. And within the cheer scalp 'em, that's over. That's embarrassing. We need to think long and hard about bringing our kids to games and putting them in a Seminole headdress. And I know that the little kids, and very often the parents, don't mean anything disrespectful, but it flies in the face of institutionally what we're trying to do. And I think we could probably work a little bit of educational stuff there that would be good, but we need to do something with that scalpum today. When you think of Florida State Seminoles, you think of a tribe that's still thriving and living and working in a new world that it's not gone, it's still here. It's not a trail of tears. It's a people living in the state of Florida, contributing to the state of Florida, and a real part of, what happens right now, 2017. I mean, I really hope we continue to think about this long and hard. I can argue both sides at any time, but having lived here and knowing what I know and experiencing what I've experienced, I lean on the side of, opposite of some of my colleagues, but I lean on the side of it's a really good thing.
I know that when I first came to work at FSU back in 2005, that's when the NCAA was making the rule change in terms of whether or not you could actually have that an Indian name as part of your symbol. And because of our strong relationship we already had, it was a virtual no-brainer. The NCAA realized, hey, that wasn't going to change. You can look elsewhere. And ever since then, it's continued to be as strong as it ever was.
I believe that the sensitivity of the political and economic relationships in the state of Florida is a determinant for the degree to which the Seminoles choose to see this as an issue. The science is deep, it is substantial, it is peer-reviewed, and it is definitive that any time you stereotype people, you are opening up a desensitization of the realities of the impacts of your actions on those people. The fact that the indigenous people that are here have maintained the degree of culture and continuity that we have is an absolute miracle. I believe that a conscientious society, one who cares about righting the harms of history, anything that does that, it is incumbent upon us going forward to change and rectify.
The Seminole people have long represented strength and honor as a symbol of Florida State University. In many ways, Osceola and Renegade have become the identity of the school and its athletic programs. But at what costs? Can a group of people authentically be honored as a symbol? Should they be? Where do we draw the line? At the end of the day, as human beings, we should equally value each other. As Florida State continues to build its relationship with the Seminole tribe, the essence of humanity will continue to be the central focus. Awareness fosters conversation. Conversation brings about understanding. And understanding is the key to progress.